Hello everybody, and welcome to the Aperture Science Enrichment Center. Today I will be showing you how to make this little Kandi companion cube. So these are some of the supplies you're going to need for today. We are going to be using a cloth-covered elastic, some scissors, a clear elastic, some white, gray, and heart accent beads, and then some of these hot pink beads, which I have in my bead case over here. To get started, we are going to be making our companion squares, which we will turn into a companion cube afterwards. This is actually a little bit too much string that I pulled off here, so you can use a bit less than this and you'll be fine. I just didn't want to fumble around too much with it on camera. So we're going to start off by stringing on 8 of your hot pink beads. You can see me very quickly double counting it, just to make sure I didn't mess it up. I didn't. Fantastic. So we are going to move the beads to one side of our string, and then tie it nice and tight, because we need it to be really rigid, because we are building a bigger square off of this smaller square. So after you tie a nice knot, leave the strings together, don't trim them, and then push your beads towards the center so it forms a little square. Then you're going to take your longer string, and then pull it through the bead next to it, so it is popping out in that corner over there. Now you are going to string on 3 beads, 1 gray bead, 1 white bead, and 1 gray bead. And we are going to pull that through the opposite corner there. Now we're going to do the same thing, 1 gray bead, 1 white bead, and 1 gray bead. And then pull it through the corner pink bead. And then 1 gray bead, 1 white bead, and 1 gray bead. Pull it through the pink bead at the corner there. And then 1 gray bead, 1 white bead, and 1 gray bead. You won't be pulling this one through anything. You will be using the remaining length of string and the little tail we had from before, and you will be tying a nice knot with those. Apologies, my chair is a little squeaky. I'm not sure why. There we go. We're actually going to need 6 of these squares in total. So you should probably pause here for a moment and then make the other ones. Rewind if you need to, but the square is not too bad. And on 5 of these panels that we are making on these little squares, we are going to put a little heartbeat in the center, making it, look like a companion cube. But I like to leave one without a heart so that it can sit flat on surfaces. So we're going to grab some string for this. I'm using a white elastic so it can actually show up on camera, but since this is an accent, I'd recommend using a clear bead. I'm finding the knot and then moving to the next bead over, and then I am pulling the string through. After this, we are going to bring the tips of our string together, and we are going to pull it through the center of our heart bead. That'll go a bit smoother if you're using the clear elastic because it's a little less thick than the cloth-covered elastic. And then we are going to pull one of the strings through the opposite pink bead over there. And then once you pull that guy through, you are going to tie a knot. Don't go too crazy on the knots here because the more you build up the clear elastic, the more visible it is, and we want it to be subtle, so. Also, remember not to pull clear elastic too tight because it snaps very easily. I think I snapped quite a few times while making this, but I get impatient and pull too tight, and I snap it and have to redo it anyway, so I should probably learn patience myself. Oh well. Alrighty, so now that we have 5 little squares with a heart on it and 1 without, we can start assembling the cube. There I was showing off how the clear elastic looks, so you can see it's a lot better. So we're going to grab 3 of our panels. I start with the top and 2 sides. Now you're going to bring their corners together, and you're going to string your string through 3 of the white beads. When you're putting your side panels together, you want to make sure that the top right white bead of your previous square and the top left bead of your new square you're adding on are touching, so they can stay oriented upright. Tie a nice little knot and then trim off the tails. You're going to be doing that a lot. Alrighty, and then we are putting on another side panel, and we are going to be grabbing a bit of string and then pulling it through the top right corner bead of our previous square and the top left of the new square we're adding on. So I actually struggled with this one for a little bit, and I do apologize, but I felt like any cut I added here just didn't look quite right, and you couldn't quite tell how I got from A to B or what have you. So I apologize for just struggling on camera for several minutes. But, you know, it is what it is. You're never going to be the best at things when you're doing it for the first time. And that includes filming yourself making the world's floppiest cube in existence. You see me have to set it down, and then I still struggle a little bit. At this point I realized I was orienting it incorrect, and then I have to fix it. There we go. Yay, he did it! Woo! I promise it's not that hard. It's much easier when you're not trying to, like, hold it mid-air and film yourself doing it. So, don't do that, I guess, is my advice. And then we're going to trim off the tails and chuck them in our scraps pile that we should probably throw away, but won't. And then we are adding on the last side panel. Yay! So the top left white bead will be touching the top right white bead from the previous square, and we will be doing the same thing, pulling a string through the 3 corners. That one went much easier. There we go. Now our cube is nearly there. We have to finish up the last. We're not adding anything on this time. We are just pulling a string through the remaining sides over here to give it a bit more structure. Alrighty, now it's time to add on the bottom bit of the cube. You don't have to worry about orientation on this one. You can just kind of slap it together with what we've done so far. Grab a bit of string, string it through 2 corners and pull it through the 1 corner of the bottom panel. And I dropped it, that's okay. We got it. Alrighty, we're in the home stretch. We're finishing up the last 3 corners. Bit of a marathon, but you got through it. So bring 3 white beads together and bring your white string through them. Tie a nice little knot. Or tie an evil knot, I don't know. Whatever you feel like doing. So at this point, if you wanted to put any beads in here to make it a shaker cube and just have it make a fun little noise, I would do this probably now. At any other point, it's at risk of falling out the whole time. So either while you only have 1 corner left to do, or 2 if you're putting in larger beads. And the beads I'd recommend using for this are any that have manufacturing errors, as I'm sure if you use beads often, sometimes they've got like little pokey outy bits, or sometimes the center is filled on cheaper beads, which is a bit inconvenient, but I just like set those to the side when I'm making candy and I don't want to use it for whatever piece I'm using, so I can put it in my little shaky guys. That way I'm not using my good beads. Anything other than a whole bead, though, might fall out of the sides, so maybe don't do that. Nothing too small. And then we are putting the last corner together. We did it. I'm so proud of you. This was a bit of a tough one. Probably not the square parts were fine. It's the putting the cube together that's a bit difficult, but you got through it and you did it. We're tying our last nice little knot, our last evil little knot, and trimming it. And if you didn't trim any of the other corners super well, you can take a second now to clean that up a bit. And there we have it. We have a cube. You did it. You got the cube. Let's go. I like to fidget with mine. Super fun. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you need any help or have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you all so much.